Besides the normal stresses and strains of school life, many pupils struggle just getting there. This is particularly the case for children from poor families. Equal Education and the KwaZulu-Natal Education Department will face off in court on scholar transport policy later this month. Let's chat some more about this now with Equal Education's Chief Operations Officer, Nchadi Mofokeng. Nchadi, good evening, and thanks for your time. And you know, I was reading the story and I just thought, how deplorable and disgusting is it that we actually have to go to court to make sure that our kids get to school safely?
I mean, that's fundamentally the problem, isn't it? That, you know, the very basics, if you look at what is in our court papers, we're essentially asking for policy to be provided, for it to clearly contemplate who's responsible between the Departments of Education and the Department of Transport, for the policy to show how planning will take place, and for the policy to talk about how provision will be secured in the future. These are the absolute basics that you think that anybody who's working on this in the department would be already doing. So it's actually quite...
So what is policy at the moment?
There's a national scholar transport policy which was published in 2015 following some campaigning from Equal Education, and so what it lacks is an ability to really deal with implementation. It's like the high-level idea that scholar transport should exist in order to allow learners to access their right to education, to dignity, to safety, and those kinds of things. But at the provincial level now, provinces need to really give meat and substance to the policy to make sure that every learner who is in need will actually be reached by scholar transport.
That's to provide the how?
Basically.
And they haven't been able to do that?
No, they haven't been able to.
Why haven't they been able to do that? What have they been telling you?
Well, you know, this is the thing. It's like a political football, right? In the sense that we were expecting this policy to be published at the end of December last year, 2018. That was a commitment made by the Department of Basic Education in KwaZulu-Natal. But, you know, since then they haven't come forth with the policy. And if anything, they've told us several times that a policy is in place, I mean, is in draft form and is just being considered by various officials. But that's been the story since January. So it really makes no sense at all. How hard can it be? So we're hoping that the new MEC, who's just come into the position, can really fast-track this issue and stop the delay game that's been at play.
Because I'm wondering, how difficult is it for whoever thinks the other department is responsible, work together? How hard can it be to work together and each school say, you know, these are the pupils we have, this is what we need. We need a bus, we need responsible minibus taxis, let's get it done.
That's like the fundamentals of it, really. Because you go and you look, and the national policy doesn't even delineate the roles between Department of Basic Education and Department of Transport. And so even if you're going to deal with funding, Treasury needs to know who to give the money to. So, you know, it has so many knock-on effects. But this problem is really one that is not so complicated, but is made complicated by very simple things. Until they're able to just set out policy, they're not able to really determine who's in need, you know. So one day you ask them, they say 90,000 learners in the province need scholar transport. That number doesn't make sense. You ask them to revise it, they come back and say 360,000, you know. So these are the absolute basics that actually, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to just address this by setting in policy and then setting up the structures to implement it.
So where are you in the legal process now?
We're going back to court since they failed to provide the policy as agreed in the court order at the end of last year. And so at the end of this month, we'll be back in court with them. They're playing delay games. We've written to the MEC to say to him, there's no need to be in court. Simply publish the policy. And we've gotten no response to that email at all, to the letters that we've sent to him. You know, state attorneys have come to us and said, can we have more time, actually? We're still contemplating the policy. And that's absolutely unacceptable to us, you know. You try to use all the normal channels, engage directly, go through legislatures, but there's no response, you know, and it leaves us no other levers to pull but to end up in the court system where, you know, money that could be providing scholar transport is actually being spent on legal fees.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that makes it even more sickening than what it is at the moment.
Exactly.
Well, I wish you all the luck. And I mean, after we saw, you know, accidents with children on the back of bakkies, children dying on their way to school, surely, you know, it's not literally, it's not brain surgery to actually have to do this. So let's hope that somebody somewhere is going to get it right. You're back in court tomorrow, is it?
On the 25th of October.
On the 25th of October. Okay, well, good luck with that and keep us posted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.